Have you ever wondered why millions treat a product launch like a sacred event? The annual iPhone unveiling functions as a modern ritual, satisfying our deep-seated hunger for narrative, progress, and a shared sense of meaning. But in watching the birth of a new device, what are we truly hoping to see revealed about ourselves?
Have you ever felt that particular silence in a room? Not just quiet, but something deeper, like a hush that falls just before something really significant happens.
Yeah, that collective held breath.
Exactly. Charged with this sort of electric potential, as if the world itself is pausing for a second.
Like before a theater curtain goes up, or maybe in a stadium, just before the anthem starts.
Or that pause in a temple, right? Before the oracle speaks. It's this moment just full of anticipation.
And it happens more often than we probably realize. Sometimes in really unexpected places.
Well, today we're not exactly waiting for a play or a prophecy from some ancient temple. No, we're turning our attention to one of the most consistently anticipated events of the modern calendar, the annual iPhone launch.
Okay.
The big one.
Yeah, the big one. And our deep dive today isn't just about, the latest gadget or the usual chatter about faster processors or brighter displays.
There's always plenty of that. Oh, always. But our mission today is to fundamentally reframe how you see it. We want to unpack why millions of people across the globe literally hold their breath, almost reverently, for a new rectangle of glass and metal. And what that intense, almost ritualistic anticipation truly signifies about us, about our modern world.
Right. And we've been digging into two really compelling texts that explore this very thing. They look at the iPhone launch, not as just a product unveiling, which is how most people see it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as something far more complex, more culturally profound. They frame it as a kind of modern liturgy, a powerful ritual, a really significant cultural event.
A liturgy, wow.
Yeah. So our aim is to look beyond the sleek aluminum and the shiny glass, past the tech specs, to really try and understand the deeper currents flowing beneath this whole global phenomenon, and to explore what profound human needs and desires it seems to answer.
So think of this deep dive as like your shortcut, your express pass to understanding something that honestly many of us participate in.
Maybe without even realizing it.
Exactly. Perhaps even you listening right now, you might watch these things or follow the news without fully realizing all the intricate layers involved. We're really aiming for those aha moments today. The kind that might just reframe how you see consumer culture, maybe even your own relationship with technology.
So yeah, let's dive in. Let's unpack this fascinating intersection of tech, culture, and, well, our deepest human needs.
Okay, let's start right there with that silence before revelation we mentioned. It's not just a quiet moment, is it?
No, not at all.
Our sources describe it as something else, not an absence of sound, but this deeper quiet, like a ritualistic waiting for a new world to be shown.
It's that hush before the Big Apple moment. It really does feel almost sacred, doesn't it?
It does. And what's fascinating, as you said, is how the sources highlight this silence as maybe the real event.
Yeah, the product itself, the new iPhone, it's not just the star of the show, is it? It's more like a catalyst.
A catalyst for what?
For a much older, much more profound human need. It echoes those moments you talked about, the theater curtain, the oracle in the temple.
Right.
We might tell ourselves rationally, oh, I'm just curious about the new processor or the camera.
Yeah, the specs.
The specs. But that rational explanation, our sources argue, it completely misses the tremor beneath the floorboards. There's something else going on.
Tremor beneath the floorboards. I like that.
Yeah.
But let's dig into that, because the sources make some really strong claims here. They're saying the Apple keynote isn't just a press conference. It's a ceremony. And the iPhone isn't just a device, it's a relic. I mean, how do they back that up? Isn't that taking it a bit far, maybe?
It might seem that way, absolutely, at first glance.
Yeah.
But they meticulously detail how Apple crafts this whole perception.
Okay.
The argument isn't just that it's clever marketing, though it is clever marketing.
Oh, definitely.
But that it's tapping into these really deep-seated human responses to ritual, to the sacred. Think about the actual physical setting of the keynote.
Right, the stage.
Yeah, the stage.
Yeah.
It's deliberately designed to evoke that sense of the sacred. It's almost always a void, right? A deliberate blackness.
Yeah, totally black.
Minimalist, from which everything emerges. And then you get a single figure, the presenter, stepping into this focused pool of light. And they're not acting like your typical CEO talking about quarterly earnings or market share.
Yeah.
They embody something closer to A high priest, maybe.
Yeah.
A custodian of secrets about to reveal something incredibly important.
The atmosphere feels less corporate, more
theatrical.
almost spiritual in a weird way.
Exactly. And the language they use.
Oh, the language, yes.
Yeah.
Revolutionary.
Magical.
The best we've ever made, every single year.
Every single year. It's not just marketing hype, is it? Our sources argue it's presented as, and this is their phrase, the language of transfiguration.
Transfiguration. Wow, that's a word with heavy connotations, like religious ones.
Precisely. Suggesting a profound spiritual change. They argue we're not just getting product info, we're being sort of initiated into a new state of being through this object.
So it's like they're consecrating the object itself, lifting it beyond just parts and software.
That's the argument. And this deliberate design, it runs through the whole structure of the presentation. It's not random. It follows this ancient ritualistic pattern.
It's like a church service almost, or a play.
Yeah, maybe a bit of both. The sources break it down. First, you get the invocation.
Okay, what's that?
That's where they recount the faith's past triumphs, you know, the growth of the ecosystem, the devotion of the followers.
Ah, so that's the bit where they show the huge user numbers, the App Store growth charts, the millions of devices sold, those slick videos with people talking about how much they love their Apple stuff.
Exactly that. It's like building the congregation's confidence, reminding everyone of the power and reach of this faith before the main event.
Building devotion, as they put it. Right, okay.
It is. They're setting the stage, establishing the scale and success, creating that sense of belonging for the existing faithful, and kind of an allure for the newcomers. It's a communal, yes, we're part of something big.
Okay, so invocation first. Then what?
Then comes the prophecy. This is crucial.
Yeah.
They hint at a problem, a human friction that miraculously has been unsolved until right now.
Ah, the pain point.
The pain point. Our sources call this the technological equivalent of original sin, like this small but persistent chaos in our digital lives.
Original sin, okay.
They skillfully create this manufactured tension, articulating a need the audience may not have known they possess.
Right, and suddenly you do feel it. Oh yeah, my battery's annoying. Or, switching apps is a bit slow sometimes.
Exactly. They make you feel the imperfection that their new thing is about to fix.
And then the grand finale, the revelation.
Yes, the dramatic unveiling of the object. It's held aloft, gleaming under the theatrical lights, turning slowly like a monstrance on an altar.
A monstrance. That's the thing in Catholic ceremonies, right? Holds the communion wafer. Very sacred.
Precisely. The parallel is striking, suggesting this deep significance. And the description, pristine, seamless, untouched by human hands.
Yeah, it feels less like it was manufactured in a factory and more like it was discovered in a meteor crater, a gift from some higher intelligence. That's quite a claim.
It is. And that whole economy of revelation, how they carefully ration the information, building suspense. It's just like ancient rituals preparing initiates for something powerful, something transformative.
It creates this incredible architecture of belief, the dark stage, the minimal aesthetic. It really does mirror the solemnity of a cathedral, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Designed to minimize worldly distractions, focus all your attention on that single transcendent point.
And the live audience. Their hushed reverence, punctuated by those, perfectly timed gasps and applause.
It's the response of a congregation, isn't it? That collective emotional reaction.
Totally. And we, watching at home, we're the outer circle of this ceremony, connected by the very screens we hope to one day replace, which is kind of ironic.
Deeply ironic. We're all gathered in this virtual temple, in a way.
It really makes you wonder, though, where does the showmanship end and the actual ritual begin?
That's the million-dollar question.
Our sources draw parallels to ancient mystery cults, like in Rome, or the Eleusinian mysteries in Greece. These were serious forms of sacred theater meant to guide people from ignorance to gnosis.
Gnosis, like deep spiritual knowledge, a fundamental shift in understanding.
Yeah, not just learning facts, but undergoing a real transformation.
Exactly. And the keynote, in this view, performs a similar function. It takes the cold, complex world of silicon, code, and logistics.
All the messy technical stuff.
Right, and transforms it into this inspiring story of human progress, of salvation through design.
Salvation through design, wow.
It promises that the chaos of our lives can be contained, ordered, and made beautiful within a 4.7-inch rectangle.
So the outcome is, we're not just buying a phone. We're buying into an ordering principle for the universe.
That's the core argument. This small, elegant thing promises order, beauty, control over our messy lives. It's an almost cosmic promise, really, shrunk down into something you can hold in your hand.
Okay, so we've talked about the stage, the ceremony. Let's zoom in now on the object itself, the iPhone.
The heart of the ritual.
Right. Our sources describe it as this almost mystical black box, performing a kind of subtle alchemy in your hand.
Yeah, the ultimate black box, defined by its deliberate inscrutability.
Yeah.
Think about it. No visible screws, you can't easily service it yourself, no obvious signs of how it was put together.
It's all about that seamlessness, isn't it? That smooth surface that just says, you don't need to understand how I work, you only need to believe that I do.
It's a huge shift from older tech, and it feels very intentional. Think about like an old watch with the clear back.
Oh yeah, you can see all the little gears moving.
Exactly. Or a classic car with the engine exposed. Those designs celebrated the mechanics, the how. The iPhone, it hides its inner world completely. It presents this surface as placid and mysterious as a pool of obsidian. You're not meant to look inside, just appreciate the result.
And literally, it is a black mirror, like those old scrying glasses of mystics and alchemists, right? Used to see hidden truths.
Yeah, the idea is its purpose is to reflect a hidden reality.
Yeah.
Not just your face when the screen's off, but something deeper.
And what a reality it reflects. It's not just our selfies or video calls. It shows us the curated, idealized version of our lives we project onto the world.
The highlight reel.
Totally. And it holds everything, doesn't it? Our most intimate conversations, our private photographs, our financial data, our location history, our very thoughts captured in notes or searches.
It's become this externalized portion of our consciousness, like a prosthetic memory and a secondary soul.
It's a secondary soul. That's intense. But
Wow.
when you think about how much of our lives are on these things, it might be the most intimate object in human history.
That intimacy is what allows it to perform this subtle alchemy on our experience. It takes the messy, unpredictable, often painful reality of our existence and transforms it, makes it manageable.
Yeah.
Elegant, even.
So, like, our chaotic memories become this perfectly organized photo gallery, sorted automatically into moments and things.
Right. Or our sprawling, complicated social lives get flattened into this endless scrolling feed of updates and likes.
And the terrifying vastness of all human knowledge just distilled into a little search box, instantly available.
Exactly. The device in this sense does not add information. It filters reality. It promises to turn the lead of raw, overwhelming experience into the gold of a clean, elegant, user-friendly interface.
It's a promise of control, making the overwhelming seem simple, maybe even beautiful.
And that constant refinement, that aesthetic polish, it elevates it way beyond just being a tool.
Which might explain why we treat these things with such reverence, almost bordering on the sacred. We cradle them, we put them in these fancy, expensive cases.
Protect them like precious jewels.
Yeah. And we feel that weird phantom limb panic when they are not in our pocket. Have you ever done that? Frantically searched for your phone.
Only to realize you're holding it.
Yeah.
Or talking on it.
Yes, exactly. Is that the kind of panic they mean? That almost physical ache of disconnection?
I think that's a perfect example. It shows that deep, almost primal connection. And our sources argue that to shatter an iPhone screen feels like more than a mere financial setback.
Oh, definitely. It's like a violation.
A violation. A crack in the mirror that holds our digital self. Think about that gut punch when it slips and hits the pavement.
Ugh, the worst feeling.
It's not just the money to fix it. It's the sudden vulnerability of your memories, your connections, your digital identity. It's a break in your prosthetic memory, a disruption to that perfect digital self you've curated.
So the annual unveiling, it's not just about a new phone. It's a promise of a more perfect vessel for this self.
Exactly. Each upgrade isn't just faster tech. It's a more resilient, more beautiful, more seamless you.
So a faster processor isn't just speed. It's a promise of a faster, more seamless consciousness. Less friction in your digital life.
Right. And a better camera is a promise of a more beautiful, more perfectly remembered past, curating your history.
And a tougher screen is a promise of a more resilient soul, protecting that digital self.
So we watch to witness the next stage in the alchemical perfection of our own reflection, always chasing that flawless, unbroken digital version of ourselves.
Oh, that's a really powerful way to look at it. But it leads to a pretty big, maybe uncomfortable question, doesn't it? For you, listening right now. What do we risk when we hand over so much? All this raw material of our lives, memories, communication, identity to this alchemist whose true formula, whose real motives we can never fully know.
It's something to really sit with, isn't it? Especially given how deeply embedded these things are in our lives now.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Let's think about how this whole annual ritual shapes our sense of time itself. Historically, before the industrial age, time was mostly cyclical. Seasons, harvests, religious feasts, these recurring patterns.
Like tied to nature, to agriculture.
Then came the modern era with its very linear, progressive march forward, always improving, always innovating.
The idea of constant progress.
But our sources argue that now, in our kind of fragmented postmodern world, even that grand story of inevitable progress, it feels a bit hollow for a lot of people, replaced by just acceleration, faster and faster, but maybe without a clear direction.
And it's right into that void, that uncertainty, that Apple steps.
How so?
Well, the annual iPhone launch has basically created its own calendar, its own private timeline that has somehow become a public marker of time for millions.
You mean how we talk about our lives in relation to these phones?
Exactly. Think about it. You hear people say, oh, that happened back when I had the iPhone 4. Or, I remember that trip. I took all the pictures on my 6S.
Well, the one with the better camera.
Yeah, totally. The devices become these anchors in our personal history. They do. And this yearly cycle, it provides a really reassuring rhythm, a kind of grammar for our experience of time.
In a world that feels chaotic, it offers this predictable and ordered progression. A constant, even if it's manufactured, sense of forward movement.
It's more than just a marketing cycle, though. Our sources argue it establishes a kind of modern teleology.
Teleology. That's like the philosophy of purpose, that things are moving towards some specific end goal.
Exactly. And here, the implied endpoint is, well, perfection. The perfect phone. The perfectly seamless experience. Each new model is presented as one step closer to an ideal final form.
You see it in the details they highlight every year, right? The bezels get smaller, the chip gets faster, the body gets thinner, the camera bumps get bigger.
Yes, that too. It's this slow, methodical march toward an unstated technological apotheosis.
Apotheosis, like becoming a god.
Well, maybe the device becoming godlike. Perfect. And it feels both exhilarating and safe.
How so?
It's manageable change. It offers this comforting story that the world isn't just spinning randomly, but it's actually getting, year by year, slightly more efficient, slightly more beautiful, and slightly more connected.
It's a very digestible version of progress. Steady, controlled evolution, not some disruptive revolution.
Precisely. But let me ask you, listening out there, are you not in some way caught up in this timeline? Don't you measure your own past partly by the phone that was in your pocket?
It's hard not to, sometimes.
And the keynote itself, this yearly reveal, it becomes the central holiday in this new calendar. It's the moment the arrow of time gets its new direction for the year, a collective reset.
To watch it is to kind of align yourself with that narrative, right? To affirm your belief in this specific type of progress. It reassures us the future will be better than the past.
Which is a comforting thought, especially in uncertain times.
What kind of progress is it, really, if it can be basically obsolete in 365 days? And what does that do to our sense of self, our own history, when our past is tied to this series of discarded objects? That feels like a hidden cost.
It's a deep ethical question.
Yeah.
Especially when you think about the intimate economics of it all.
Intimate economics.
Yeah. For so many people, the iPhone isn't just a tool. It's a personal archive. It's the camera that caught their kids' first steps.
Right. Or the notebook where they jotted down a brilliant idea.
Oh.
Or the calendar marking joys and sorrows.
So upgrading becomes more than just getting new tech. It's an act of stewardship, maybe, protecting those memories.
Right.
Or it's self-definition, signaling your investment in the future.
Which leads to the question our sources pose. What ethics govern our relationship with devices that hoard memory? And what responsibility do we have to these digital extensions of ourselves?
It really makes you think about the true cost, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Way beyond the sticker price.
Okay, now for maybe the most powerful illusion woven into this whole thing, that sense of global community it seems to create.
Ah, the connection paradox.
Exactly. For that 1 hour, on that one day, millions of people across the globe are united, doing the same thing. Paying attention to the same thing.
Live blogs are buzzing, social media is exploding with reactions, predictions.
That forms this vast, invisible congregation, all bound by this shared desire. It really does create a powerful feeling of connection in an increasingly atomized world. You feel part of something huge.
And that feeling is absolutely real for many people. It's a potent experience, synchronous attention, shared focus. But Here's the paradox. Our sources hammer home.
Okay.
It's a community of spectators, not participants. It's shared, yes, but it's mediated entirely by screens.
We are quite literally alone together.
Painfully so sometimes. We're watching a presentation on a screen about a new screen, which promises to let us better connect with other people who are also staring at their screens.
Ugh, when you put it like that.
It feels like the ritual, while promising deeper connection, is actually a perfect reflection of the very disembodiment and distance it claims to solve. We gather virtually, only to kind of retreat back into our individual digital bubbles.
That's profound. And yet there's still that social choreography of belonging going on, isn't there? That communal joy of being part of a crowd, even if it's online. It provides this digital solidarity. It's described as a small, free, and steadily renewing gift of communality.
And we crave that, don't we? That shared experience, that moment of collective focus. It's a deep human need to belong, even if the belonging is just through pixels on a screen.
And that experience is delivered by a device that is itself such a paradox. It lets us talk to anyone, anywhere, instantly.
Bridging huge distances.
But at the same time, it erects a subtle, shimmering barrier between ourselves and the physical world around us.
Subtle is the key word. Almost imperceptible, but incredibly pervasive.
Just think of a family at dinner, right? Everyone's silent, bathed in the glow of their own phone, in their own little world instead of talking to each other.
Or at a concert where you see more phones held up recording than faces actually watching the band.
Yeah, that compulsion not just to experience the moment, but to record it, to prove it happened, share it later, rather than just being there.
The device becomes a portal to the entire world, but a portal that we must turn away from the world to look through. It pulls our attention away from the here and now.
Which brings us to this idea of a self-perpetuating cycle of disconnection.
The massive audience for the keynote, the enduring obsession with these devices. It's born from this very paradox.
So the sources suggest we gather for this new tool for connection precisely because we feel, maybe without even articulating it, this profound sense of disconnection in our lives.
That's the idea. The global spectacle does provide a shared experience, that digital solidarity moment. But the very act of participating reinforces our isolation. We're just individual nodes in a vast network receiving a broadcast.
There's communication, sure, but is there real communion? We're a crowd, but are we a community?
The answer seems complex, maybe even contradictory.
And this creates a kind of loop, right? The more we rely on these devices to mediate our lives, filter reality,
the more we feel the need for that pure, unmediated connection they promise, but can never quite deliver.
So we turn back to the source, back to the ceremony, the annual renewal of the promise, like a pilgrimage, hoping this time it'll fix the problem it helps create.
Exactly. We watch year after year, hoping that this next iteration will finally be the one that closes the distance.
The distance between us, between our digital and physical selves, between the promise and the reality.
All of the above. It's tapping into a deep and persistent human yearning. And the conclusion from our sources is pretty stark. We're essentially watching a lonely world reach for a ghost of itself.
Wow, a lonely world reaching for a ghost of itself. That's quite a takeaway, a powerful, maybe even heartbreaking view of this whole spectacle.
It really reframes the whole event, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Okay, let's try and pull back the curtain even more now. Let's look at the machine behind it all, the actual mechanisms that make this ritual so darn compelling.
The nuts and bolts of the magic show.
Exactly, because our brains are actually like biologically wired to respond to this stuff, aren't they? It's not just cultural conditioning, there are neurological hooks.
Absolutely. Our brains are prediction machines, right?
Yeah.
And they respond strongly to prediction errors, those little flippers of surprise when our expectations are violated or confirmed.
Okay.
And Apple, with these reveals, manages expectation with exquisite precision. Think about it. Long before the keynote, you have leaks, rumors.
Building anticipation.
Yeah.
Sketching possibilities.
Right. Raising the bar. Then the official moment resolves all that tension, sometimes confirming things, sometimes blowing them up with a surprise. It's a masterclass in psychological stage management.
And that resolution, the confirmation, or the surprise, it gives us that little dopamine hit, doesn't it? Or that weird pang of cognitive dissonance if a rumor turns out false.
Feels like a small recreational reward. A little burst of pleasure or intrigue that keeps us hooked.
But multiply that across millions of people all at once.
It becomes a tidal force.
Yeah.
When a million prediction errors are resolved simultaneously, our sources call it collective synchrony.
Collective synchrony.
Yeah, like the minds of millions pulse in near unison.
Yeah.
It's this powerful, almost chemical response on a massive scale, a global, simultaneous hit of anticipation, release, and reward. Incredibly potent, deeply engaging.
Wow. Okay, so beyond our brains, there's also the whole social physics of scarcity and identity signaling.
Right. Status objects historically always got value from being scarce or exclusive.
Right.
Rare art, luxury goods.
Yeah.
And a new iPhone, even though they make millions, it kind of stages scarcity rhetorically. Limited edition colors, maybe. Initial shortages that create a rush. Special features only on the top model.
And the moment it appears, suddenly choices are thrust into the public square.
Exactly. Who upgrades right away? Who waits? Who gets the Pro? Who sticks with the base model? Who holds out? Those choices become social performance.
Buying the new one isn't just buying a phone. It's a way of saying to the world, silently and very publicly, this is who I am, or at least who I wish to be.
It's a negotiation of belonging and aspiration, a signal of your place or where you want your place to be. When we choose a device, we also choose the image by which we will be perceived, whether we mean to or not. It's potent self-expression in our consumer world.
And a huge part of this is Apple's absolute mastery of myth-making and the power of narrative.
Oh, definitely. Apple is this repository for a certain set of myths, isn't it? The lone genius in the garage.
Right, the visionary tinkerer.
Elegant objects that just work, this promise of living in the future.
The brand story draws on these really romantic notions like innovation as moral progress or design as moral clarity.
And that narrative is so powerful because it speaks directly to our modern anxieties, right? Complexity, feeling fragmented, the fear of being left behind, of becoming obsolete.
In a world that feels chaotic, they offer this reassuring vision.
So the launch becomes this mythic moment in which complexity is reduced and a story is given. The future is contained in this sleek object, and that containment is reassuring.
And myths aren't just comforting, they're mobilizing. They make people want to tell the story, share the images, repeat the slogans.
Become their own evangelists.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which transforms corporate messaging into cultural scripture, creates a community of believers eager to spread the gospel.
It's also fascinating how much theater there is in design itself. They're not just selling products, they sell designed experiences, even designed possibilities.
Yeah, the way an object feels in your hand, the click of a button, how light hits the finish. These are presented as aesthetic promises about the kind of life you will lead while using it.
The iPhone Surface becomes a stage where functional engineering meets personal narrative, cold tech infused with personal meaning.
I think it goes deeper. When Apple introduces a new camera, they're not merely adding a sensor, it is proposing new ways to see the world.
They don't just give you specs, they give you a new way to frame your memories, tell your story.
Right. And when they change the gestures, they're rewriting a grammar of attention, subtly changing how we interact with everything.
The launch event demonstrates this new grammar, this new way of seeing, and the audience participates by imagining their own days reframed by these features, picturing how their life will be better, easier, more beautiful.
So these devices don't just change what we do, they literally scaffold how we imagine possibilities.
A new camera tilts what kinds of images we can conceive, makes pro-level shots seem possible for anyone.
Yeah, or a faster processor turns certain creative projects from fantasy into mundane reality, empowers people to do things they couldn't before on a phone.
So the launch announces not only a new artifact, but an enlargement of what can be imagined. It's about expanding our mental horizons, not just the tech specs.
Precisely. It's about potential.
Okay, and then beyond the single device, there's the whole ecosystem, right? The ecosystem's gravity and economic pressures.
Apple's devices are just nodes within a system. Apps, the cloud, repair networks, Apple Pay.
It's a whole universe built around the hardware.
Right. And the value of any one device is amplified by the network. All the other users, all the software.
So the network effect means each upgrade isn't just personal, it's a communal shift in infrastructure.
Think about it. When enough people move to a new device, apps have to follow. Developers optimize for the new hardware. Sometimes they drop support for the old stuff.
So if you hold on to your old phone too long, your favorite apps might slow down, or you lose features just because the community moved on without you.
Exactly. The launch acts like a punctuated equilibrium in the tech ecosystem. That's a term from evolution.
Right, long stability, then rapid change.
Yeah, a discrete moment when the standards shift, capabilities expand, and the whole digital world kind of tilts on its axis. It almost becomes necessary to keep up.
So could there be this unseen economic pressure pushing people to watch the launch? Just to stay informed, to be prepared, so they don't fall behind.
It definitely makes you question your personal autonomy in a networked age.
Yeah.
How much real choice do you have when the network itself moves on?
Wow. And then, of course, there are the media dynamics, algorithms, and the attention economy fanning the flame.
Oh, yeah. The modern attention economy runs on clicks and engagement. And a spectacle like an iPhone launch, it's perfect fuel for that machine.
Produces endless images and sound bites suited to click-through consumption, quick hits, reactions.
And the algorithms. They're designed to amplify anything that triggers easy engagement, surprise, outrage, beauty, controversy, excitement.
The launch generates all of that in abundance, creates this self-reinforcing spiral of attention. Talk leads to clicks, leads to more talk.
Which makes you wonder, is our appetite for this stuff engineered by the platforms, by unseen software architects, or do we just naturally gravitate towards things that feel good to share and talk about?
Is it organic desire or cleverly curated engagement?
And going deeper, if these platforms didn't exist, would the same amount of attention gather around these events? Probably not, right?
Seems unlikely at this scale.
So does that implicate the architecture of our public sphere in shaping what we regard as significant?
No.
Does the platform itself dictate what matters?
Heavy questions. And leaks. Leaks play such a weird, complex role in all this now.
Oh, the leaks. A peculiar modern dialectic, as our sources call it. They feed the hunger for spoilers while simultaneously cranking up the stakes of the official reveal. That's a strange dance.
Is it intentional marketing sometimes? To calibrate and amplify anticipation, generate buzz?
Sometimes, almost certainly. Other times it's genuine information escapes from the supply chain or wherever. Either way, leaks transform the launch.
How so?
They make it feel like a late climax rather than a simple beginning, because the audience is already preconditioned to speculate, to guess, to invest emotionally for months beforehand.
The anticipation builds and builds, creating this emotional investment that's hard to just ignore.
Which leads to the questions. Why do we love spoilers but also dread them? And do leaks actually democratize knowledge by giving us early info? Or do they just commodify our curiosity, turn every tidbit into clickbait?
Big questions about our whole relationship with information now.
And finally, wrapping up this deconstruction, there's the choreography of belonging, that digital solidarity.
There is that undeniable communal joy in witnessing a shared event. Even if it's online, people get comfort from synchronous experience, that feeling of shared presence.
To be present at a moment is to belong to the story it produces. It's a powerful idea, feeling connected to a larger narrative as it unfolds.
But how does that synchronous attention shape memory and meaning? Especially now when everything else is so on demand, so fragmented, so personalized.
In an age of infinite choice, these rare moments of mass, shared attention, they become incredibly significant, don't they? Binding us together in these unexpected ways.
Okay, so we've painted this picture of the launch as this incredibly complex ritual, this powerful engine driving meaning and identity. But it's crucial to say not everyone buys into it, right?
Oh, absolutely not. There's active resistance, a counter-narrative.
People who refuse upgrades, who repair, who repurpose, who celebrate alternative ecosystems, like the Fairphone folks or the Right to Repair movement.
Exactly. These individuals, these groups, they form subcultures whose quiet work erodes the monolith of mass attention. Their actions pose really important questions, both moral and aesthetic.
Like, why create more devices when repair could suffice? Or why accept planned obsolescence as just the way things are? They're choosing to step off the treadmill.
And these dissenting practices, they challenge the whole spectacle, don't they?
Yeah.
They force us to ask if this launch ritual is really compatible with things like sustainability, with ethical labor, with a slower, more considered life.
Can the spectacle even exist without that constant cycle of newness and obsolescence? Does its power depend on it? It feels like a fundamental tension.
Which leads us right into the political economy of it all. The unseen ripple effects of concentrating so much attention, so much market power.
Because the attention the launch gets is monetized downstream, right? Ads, app sales, the whole accessory market. It fuels this huge secondary economy.
But beyond that, the sheer market power of a company like Apple exerts influence on supply chains, labor practices, and regulatory attention all over the world.
So the decisions made for the launch shape things happening in factories far away, global shipping, countless suppliers, even national policies. It raises a huge ethical question for us as consumers, as citizens.
Which is?
When we applaud a device, are we tacitly endorsing a vast network of practices and policies that lie out of sight?
And further, should worship of craftsmanship always be so neatly separated from the conditions that produce it? Can we admire the object without considering how it was made?
It forces us to think about the wider impact of just buying a phone.
And then there's the charisma aspect.
Yeah.
The charisma of leadership, institutionalized.
You mean like Steve Jobs? His persona.
Yeah.
The showmanship, the vision, the storytelling, it became inseparable from the product itself, turned it into a prophecy.
He instilled that fervent belief.
Yeah.
But charisma isn't permanent.
Right.
It's tied to a person, but it can be inherited, codified, and ritualized into practices.
So the launch event itself becomes institutionalized charisma, a performance designed to outlive any one person, carrying the legacy forward.
That's the idea. It keeps the narrative alive, which raises the question for any organization like this. How do you preserve that narrative urgency, that almost spiritual vibe, without descending into hollow ritual?
It's a tricky balance, keeping the magic alive without it just becoming theater.
And finally, we have to consider the finite nature of attention. Our collective attention, it's valuable, finite, maybe the most precious commodity we have in this information age.
So a culture that devotes enormous amounts of cognitive and emotional bandwidth to watching new devices be revealed, what is at risk neglecting?
Other vital forms of public life. Art, civic debate, the slow, hard work of political reform. We only have so much attention to give.
When our calendars revolve around product announcements, when our feeds are full of gadget talk, what else do we fail to notice? What crucial conversations get pushed aside? What problems go unsolved because our collective gaze is fixed firmly on the shiny new thing?
Our sources ask, could the energies that converge on a product reveal be channeled toward other forms of communal work? Towards solving real problems? It's a powerful challenge to reevaluate our priorities.
Ultimately, this whole iPhone launch phenomenon, it holds up a mirror of modernity, a mirror to our society and to ourselves.
It reflects so much, doesn't it? Our longing for novelty, our addiction to narrative, our willingness to equate identity and tool. It shows us what we value, what we crave, what we're willing to overlook.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe the invitation is, look into that mirror. Ask yourself, what do I really want for my devices? And what do I want from the world?
The answer might be small, practical, a better camera, a smoother interface, longer battery life.
Always longer battery life. Or it might be something much bigger. Belonging, purpose, the sense that life is moving forward, that progress is real.
And we can't forget the name itself, right? Apple. A name always freighted with mythological significance.
The garden, the tree, the fruit.
The fruit that offered a kind of forbidden knowledge, changing humanity forever. Our sources suggest that, in a way, we are still reaching for that fruit, hoping this time, this iteration will finally satisfy the hunger it was designed to create.
That original deep hunger for knowledge, for connection, for something more. Wow. What an incredible journey, peeling back all those layers. It's clear the iPhone launch is so much more than just a commercial event.
It really is.
It's this deeply human drama, isn't it? A modern ritual tapping into these ancient longings we have for meaning, for progress, for connection.
We've seen the stage as a cathedral, the device as an alchemical mirror.
The annual cycle as this new grammar of time and that really paradoxical community it creates, connecting us globally while somehow isolating us individually. It's a triumph of marketing, sure, but it reveals this profound human search for meaning.
Yeah. And maybe in an age where those big grand narratives often feel like they're in ruins, where traditional sources of meaning are being questioned, maybe we are searching for a miracle.
Searching for a story to believe in, for ritual, for a sense of the sacred, to anchor us somehow.
So the launch of a new iPhone, it becomes this moment of choice, doesn't it? A really profound one if you look at it this way.
Will we pause? Will we stop and examine the cost of our movement? The real implications of where we put our collective attention?
Can we learn to make ritual without surrender? To celebrate innovation without erasing responsibility?
So when those lights dim next time and that new object is revealed, the question is, who will we be? Spectators, consumers, citizens, something else entirely. We really encourage you, our listener, to think about what you're truly pledging your attention to, what stories you're buying into.
And whether our modern rituals are actually serving our deepest ends. Or if maybe our ends have just adapted themselves to fit the spectacle.
That new reflection looking back from the dark screen, is it truly yours? Or is it a reflection of something else, something carefully crafted and presented to you? Lots to think about. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
If you enjoy this video, please like, share, subscribe and hit the bell to the later update from my channel. Thank you for watching till the end and see you in the next video.